What if I told you that a Roman philosopher who lived 2,000 years ago discovered the secret to true wealth? And it has nothing to do with money. Seneca, one of history's greatest Stoic minds, believed that most people are living like beggars while sitting on the greatest treasure of all. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why he said that time, not gold, not silver, not even love, is the most precious thing you'll ever possess. But before we dive deep into Seneca's revolutionary perspective on time, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Why? Because every single day, I'm going to share with you life-changing Stoic wisdom that will transform how you see the world. And trust me, after today's revelation about time, you won't want to miss a single insight. Picture this. You're scrolling through your phone, watching meaningless videos, complaining about not having enough time for what matters. Meanwhile, Seneca, a man who advised emperors, built massive wealth, and wrote philosophical masterpieces that still change lives today, is looking at you from across the centuries, shaking his head. He's not judging you for being poor in money. He's judging you for being poor in time awareness. Because Seneca understood something that 99% of people never figure out. Time is the only currency that truly matters, and most of us are spending it like drunk sailors. And here's what's incredible. I'm going to share with you Seneca's exact framework for treating time like the treasure it is. This isn't just philosophy. This is a practical system that will revolutionize your entire approach to living. Let me take you back to ancient Rome, around 50 AD. Seneca is at the height of his power. He's the advisor to Emperor Nero, one of the wealthiest men in the empire, with villas, slaves, and more gold than most people could imagine. But here's the shocking part. He's miserable. Not because he lacks material things, but because he realizes he's been living like everyone else, unconsciously throwing away his most precious resource. And that's when he has his life-changing epiphany. In his letter to his friend Lucilius, Seneca writes something that should shake every person to their core. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Think about that for a moment. We're not victims of time scarcity. We're victims of time unconsciousness. Seneca observed something terrifying about human nature. He noticed that people who would never dream of letting someone steal their money will freely give away hours, days, even years of their life to activities and people that add zero value to their existence. He wrote, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property. But as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." This hit me like a lightning bolt when I first read it. How many hours have you lost to mindless scrolling? How many evenings disappeared into Netflix binges? How many weekends vanished into activities you didn't even enjoy? Seneca realized that while we can always make more money, build new relationships, or acquire new skills, we can never, ever make more time. Every second that passes is gone forever. Every minute you waste is a minute stolen from your potential, your dreams, your legacy. But here's where it gets even more profound. Seneca discovered something that modern psychology has only recently confirmed. There are two types of people in this world, the time-rich and the time-poor. And it has nothing to do with how many hours you have in a day. The time-poor are always rushing, always stressed, always saying, "I don't have time." They live in a constant state of scarcity, even though they have the same 24 hours as everyone else. The time-rich, on the other hand, seem to have all the time in the world. They're calm, focused, and incredibly productive. They accomplish more in a day than most people do in a week. What's the difference? Consciousness. Seneca wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." The time-rich understand that to gain time for what matters, you must ruthlessly eliminate what doesn't matter. Let me share with you Seneca's 3 categories of time that will blow your mind. Category 1. Time that belongs to others. This is time you spend on other people's priorities, other people's emergencies, other people's drama. Seneca called this borrowed time, because you're essentially lending your life force to someone else's agenda. Category 2. Time that belongs to the past or future. This is time spent regretting yesterday or worrying about tomorrow. Seneca was brutal about this. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. Category 3. Time that belongs to you. This is the only real time, the present moment, spent on activities that align with your values, your growth, your purpose. And here's the game-changing part one promised you. Seneca developed a specific daily practice to maximize category 3 time. I'm going to reveal this practice in just a moment, and it's going to transform how you approach every single day. Most people spend 80% of their time in categories 1 and 2, and only 20% in category 3. Seneca flipped this ratio, and that's why he accomplished so much while maintaining inner peace. But the real treasure isn't just in understanding these categories. It's in Seneca's revolutionary approach to protecting your time like a fortress. Here's where Seneca gets really practical. He didn't just philosophize about time. He created a system to guard it like the precious treasure it is. Imagine your time as a castle, and every request, every distraction, every obligation as a potential invader. Most people leave their castle gates wide open. Seneca built walls, moats, and station guards. Seneca's first defense, the morning reflection. Every morning, Seneca would ask himself 3 questions. What am I going to accomplish today that will matter in 10 years? What activities am I going to say no to today? How will I protect my time from thieves? Notice he didn't ask, what do I need to do today? That's victim thinking. He asked, what am I going to accomplish? That's treasure guardian thinking. Seneca's second defense, the evening audit. Every night, Seneca would review his day like a general reviewing a battle. He wrote, when the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine the whole day and go back over what I've done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by. But here's the crucial part. He wasn't just reflecting for the sake of reflection. He was calculating his time ROI, return on investment. For every hour spent, he asked, did this hour bring me closer to wisdom, virtue, or meaningful accomplishment? If the answer was no, that activity got eliminated from future days. Seneca's third defense, the art of noble refusal. This is where Seneca becomes absolutely ruthless, and it's probably the most important lesson you'll ever learn about time management. Seneca wrote, nothing will ever be attempted if all possible objections must first be overcome. But he took this further. He realized that saying yes to everything is saying no to everything that matters. He developed what I call the Seneca Filter, a simple test for every request on his time. Does this align with my core values? Will this matter in 5 years? Am I the only person who can do this? Does this energize me or drain me? If any answer was no, Seneca would decline, politely but firmly. And here's what's beautiful about this approach. When you become selective about your time, people start respecting your time more. When you treat your time as precious, others begin to treat it as precious too. But wait, there's one more treasure I'm going to share with you at the end of this video. Seneca's ultimate time secret that he only shared with his closest friends. This technique alone can give you back 2 to 3 hours every single day. Now let me share with you the calculation that changed Seneca's life forever, and will probably change yours too. Seneca did something that most people are too afraid to do. He calculated exactly how much time he had left. If you're 30 years old and live to 80, you have approximately 18,250 days left. That sounds like a lot, right? But let's break it down further. Subtract 8 hours a day for sleep, 12,167 days of conscious time. Subtract time for basic necessities, eating, hygiene, commuting, about 8,111 days. Subtract time for work that doesn't fulfill you, about 4,055 days. You're left with roughly 4,000 days, about 11 years, to create your legacy, build meaningful relationships, and become the person you're meant to be. Suddenly, that argument you had last week seems pretty insignificant, doesn't it? That hour you spent scrolling social media? That evening you wasted watching shows you didn't even enjoy? Seneca wrote, life is long enough if you know how to use it. But most people don't know how to use it because they've never done this calculation. When you truly understand the mathematics of mortality, everything changes. You stop tolerating toxic people. You stop engaging in meaningless activities. You stop postponing your dreams. But here's where Seneca's wisdom gets even more powerful. This is where Seneca's philosophy becomes almost mystical, but in the most practical way possible. Seneca discovered that when you truly master the present moment, time itself transforms. He wrote, "Every moment that passes is a moment in which we have the opportunity to choose our response to life." Think about this. The past exists only in your memory. The future exists only in your imagination. The only time that actually exists is right now. And right now is where all your power lives. But here's the paradox that blew Seneca's mind. When you stop trying to save time and start trying to savor time, you actually end up with more of it. When you're fully present in a conversation, that conversation becomes richer and more meaningful. When you're fully present in your work, you become more efficient and creative. When you're fully present in your leisure, you actually feel refreshed instead of guilty. Seneca called this temporal abundance, the feeling of having enough time because you're using time consciously. Most people live in temporal scarcity, always feeling rushed, always behind, always stressed about time. But temporal scarcity isn't about having less time. It's about being unconscious of the time you have. Here's Seneca's daily practice for achieving temporal abundance. The 5-minute morning intention setting. Before checking your phone, before coffee, before anything else, spend 5 minutes setting your intention for the day. Not your to-do list, your intention. How do you want to feel? What kind of person do you want to be today? The hourly check-in. Every hour, pause for 30 seconds and ask, am I using this time in a way that honors my values? If not, course correct immediately. The evening gratitude. Before sleep, identify 3 moments from a day when you felt fully alive and present. This trains your brain to notice and create more of these moments. All right, here's the ultimate treasure I promised you. Seneca's secret technique that he only shared with his closest friends. It's called Temporal Tithing, and it's going to revolutionize your relationship with time. Just like financial tithing involves giving away 10% of your money, temporal tithing involves dedicating 10% of your waking hours to activities that serve something greater than yourself. But here's the magic. When you give away time to serve others, to create beauty, to solve problems, or to grow wisdom, you don't lose time, you multiply it. Seneca discovered that the hours he spent mentoring young philosophers, writing letters of wisdom, and serving the greater good were the hours that made all his other hours more meaningful. Here's how to implement temporal tithing. Calculate your daily waking hours, let's say 16 hours. Dedicate 1.6 hours, about 90 minutes, to service. This could be mentoring someone, creating something beautiful, learning something profound, or helping solve a problem that matters. But here's the crucial part. This 90 minutes must be completely disconnected from any expectation of return. You're not networking, you're not building your brand, you're not expecting anything back. You're simply contributing to the greater good. Seneca wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." When you give your time freely, you end the cycle of time scarcity and begin the cycle of time abundance. The people who practice temporal tithing report something incredible. They feel like they have more time, not less. Their days feel fuller and more meaningful. Their stress about time decreases dramatically. Why? Because when you give time away consciously, you become conscious of all your time. Now let me paint you a picture of what your life looks like when you truly embrace Seneca's philosophy of time as treasure. You wake up each morning not with dread or anxiety, but with excitement. Why? Because you know that today, you have 16 hours of the most precious currency in the universe, and you're going to spend it wisely. You check your phone not compulsively, but intentionally. You engage with social media not to escape, but to connect meaningfully. When someone asks for your time, you don't automatically say yes out of guilt or fear. You pause, apply the Seneca Filter, and make a conscious choice. When you're with loved ones, you're actually present. Your mind isn't wandering to work stress or future worries. You're right there, creating memories that will matter forever. When you work with focus and purpose. You're not just putting in hours. You're creating value, solving problems, building something meaningful. When you rest without guilt. You understand that restoration is not time wasted. It's time invested in your future energy and creativity. This is what Seneca called living like a philosopher, not in the academic sense, but in the practical sense of loving wisdom enough to live by it. But here's what's really beautiful about this transformation. When you start treating your time as treasure, you inspire others to do the same. Your family becomes more intentional. Your friends become more present. Your colleagues become more focused. You become a time revolutionary in a world of time slaves. So here we are, at the end of our journey through Seneca's revolutionary understanding of time. But really, this isn't an end, it's a beginning. Because right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can close this video and go back to living unconsciously, letting your most precious treasure slip through your fingers like sand. Or you can decide, right here, right now, that your time is too valuable to waste. Seneca lived over 2,000 years ago, but his message is more urgent today than ever. In a world of infinite distractions, endless notifications, and constant demands on our attention, the ability to guard your time like treasure isn't just wise, it's essential for survival. Remember, you are not a victim of time scarcity. You are the guardian of time abundance. Every moment you have is a gift, and how you use that gift determines not just what you accomplish, but who you become. The clock is ticking, not to create anxiety, but to create urgency around what matters. Your dreams are waiting. Your potential is calling. Your legacy is being written one moment at a time. The question isn't whether you have enough time. The question is whether you have enough consciousness to use the time you have. Seneca believed that time was our greatest treasure. Now you know why. The question is, what are you going to do with this treasure? If this video opened your eyes to the true value of time, hit that like button, not just because it helps the algorithm, but because it's a commitment to yourself that you're going to start treating your time as the treasure it is. Drop a comment and tell me, I am the guardian of my time. I want to see this community of time revolutionaries grow, and I read every single comment. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. We all know people who are drowning in busyness, but starving for meaning. Be the friend who introduces them to Seneca's wisdom. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, because every day I'm sharing Stoic wisdom that will transform your life. Tomorrow, I'm revealing Marcus Aurelius' secret for turning obstacles into opportunities. You won't want to miss it. And come back next week to tell me how applying Seneca's time principles changed your life. I love hearing your success stories, and they inspire other viewers to take action. Remember, your time is your treasure. Guard it well.